a very happy Thanksgiving to all y'all in Broncos country. We have so much to BO-Lieve in and to be thankful for. We have a team that has some of the best coverage of our team across the entire NFL. I've lived in multiple other markets, and I'm just telling you guys, nobody has it better than us. We got Brandon Perna, we got DNVR, we got the Locked On Bros, and of course, we got Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. And in this video, I have an amazing opportunity to talk to truly like the biggest purely Denver Broncos YouTube creator out there, Moose. We're talking about Moose, of course, Broncos Breakdown, and in this video, we talk about all the things we have to be thankful for and our long-term predictions here for the rest of the season, why the Broncos are making a deep push in the NFL playoffs, and why the Denver Broncos have nobody to fear. Without further ado, let's let it breathe. Oh my goodness, the worlds are colliding, and here we are. My biggest Broncos creator on YouTube. Where are you at, bro?
Maybe not as big as Perna, or you do a great job yourself, man. But currently, I'm with Chat Sports. It's a sports media company here in Dallas. We primarily focus on YouTube content creation, and I host the Broncos Breakdown. Notably, I watch your content pretty much every day to give a positive view on things. That's one of the criticisms that I think Broncos country has definitely gotten from me, is I can be a little harsh sometimes, but that's kind of my thing, is like I'm very critical of my football, but I do watch you every day, and I got to tell you, man, you do an excellent job.
Oh, well, back at you. I feel like we balance each other out. And on the comments all the time, people say, like, hey, I watch Moose when I just need actual news and a come down. And then I watch you when I just need irrational confidence. So it's like, we should have, like, I thought you were going to wear black and I was going to wear white and it was just going to be perfect. But,
It's a great blend to see, because like I watch you, and I sometimes I go, man, I probably should have said something like that on my video so that the Broncos fans don't come after my life. But no, man, like I said, I'm really excited to do this, and let's get into it.
yeah, man. All right. So, what has been the most surprising thing for you here with the Broncos at 9-2 right now?
So, notably, when the season started, and I started back in May taking over the Broncos channel, and I knew on paper this Broncos defense was going to be outstanding. You have the reigning defensive player of the year in Pat Surtain, Nick Bonito coming off of his best season. You go out, you re-sign Zach Allen. John Franklin Myers had a great year. I didn't realize just how stout this defense would be. And this is without the turnovers. Broncos currently have a -3 turnover margin, which is 19th in the NFL currently. So I look at this team and I'm like, they do one thing, and one thing better than any defense I've ever seen. And yeah, that's going back to 2015. And they just get you off the field. So I didn't realize that this defense was A, going to be as stout as it was, and B, could be one of the greatest defenses at the end of the year that we've ever seen.
Oh yeah, man, and on pace to break the sack record for the NFL. And the most exciting thing is we've done it these past two games, and really 2.5 games without Pat Surtain and Alex Singleton. And so I think you're spot on there that this might be the worst the Broncos defense will be for a while now.
Well, and that core group that they've got, they paid Pat, they paid Zach, they paid Nick Bonito. George Payton has done an excellent job of getting team-friendly deals for this team, and just prioritizing these core six players, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It's only going to get better from here.
Yep, and 50 million in cap space. We never have to say the name Russell Wilson again. So I think that the future is insanely bright. You need orange and blue sunglasses for sure. What concerns you the most about these next 6 games?
All right, so interestingly enough, and I think we're going to get into this on our live show a little bit later with you joining us for that awesome experience. But one of the things that I have been hypercritical of this year is the development of Bo Nix. And the reason that I say that is because the quarterback position is obviously the most important in this 2025 age, right? You have to be solid. You have to be more than competent at the quarterback position. And I will give Bo a lot of credit for a lot of things, man. The clutch gene, when he hits that back foot, plants his back foot, and just fires, it's a thing of beauty. It's a great looking football. I think his feet get a little bit too jumpy when he's in the pocket, especially when he's facing the blitz. But the Broncos' offensive line is exceptional. So the one thing I would say that concerns me the most down the stretch is we're going to be playing some really elite defenses coming up. right? So you got the Green Bay Packers, who have one of the best defenses in the NFL. The Jaguars defense is no slouch, although it's not nearly as stout. You have to play the Chiefs again, and then you have to play the Los Angeles Chargers in colder weather. How is Bo's game going to translate when he plays amazing in the fourth? Can he do what he did against the Chiefs this first time in 2025 down the rest of the stretch? And I think if he finds his groove, this team literally is unstoppable. You cannot beat the defense. And if the offense plays like it has been in moments during this game and against the Chiefs, look out because they're going for another Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness, they are, man. 'Kay, the other thing is, like, Bo is second in NFL with dropped passes, and we're one of the most penalized teams in football. I feel like both of those have to turn around, right?
You absolutely are correct. Interestingly enough, the Broncos have 93 penalties this year, and on the road, they are currently 7th in the NFL in road penalties. So you take a look at some of the, operational side of things. They're also like 8th in pre-snap penalties, and that's one of the areas during the bye week when Peyton came out and said we self-scouted during this week. That's not something you can actually do during the season because you take away from the game planning from your opponent. So you have to allocate some time during the bye week to really reflect, look at yourself and go, how do we get better from an operational standpoint? And I think Davis Webb, I think Joe Lombardi, and I think Sean Payton all came together, brought that offense together and said, look, if we clean this up, there's not a single team in the NFL, including the Patriots at 10-2, that can beat us. There's just no way.
100%, man. What win this year has had you, like, out of your chair like, "Hey, we're going to Levi Stadium. We're winning the Super Bowl."
So if you would have asked me about a month ago, I would have told you it was the Eagles game. Then that next week comes out as the New York Jets. Well, not the next week, 2 weeks later, the Giants come to town. And from the start, Jackson Dart just gives our defense hell. That kid's a baller, man. But that game, the Demaryius Thomas game, where you get him into the Ring of Fame. You're down 33 points going into the fourth. I'm sitting there on live saying, I'm about to tee off on this team. And then all of a sudden, Bo Nix turns into John Elway, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, all in one. And then boom, Broncos come back and they win that game. You cannot tell me that DT was not on that field during that game. There's just way too much aura in that win for me to sit back and think this team is not destined for greatness. So I look at that win specifically, but more from a complete and holistic standpoint, this last game against the Chiefs, I thought the offense really showed up from the very start of the game to the very end of the game. Bo Nix was clutch. Receivers didn't drop nearly as many passes. I think that was the first indication that, okay, now we're really starting to find our groove, and it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah. See, how could people say you're a cloud you're set I mean, you're talking Super Bowl, you are a straight up believer, and I love it, man.
Oh my goodness, we got so much more to break down, but before we do, I have to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of today's video. We're talking about DraftKings Sportsbook, an amazing, amazing partner. So whether you're riding high because we're on a bye week and we've had back-to-back huge wins, or you're following another team and you're coming off a bad loss, DraftKings has an incredible offer right now, especially for new customers. Here's the deal. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I got to say it again because it's so good. You bet $5. If your bet wins, you get $200 in bonus bets because the crown is yours. Maybe you're very interested in looking at an over-under, who's going to win. Or maybe you want to take a shot at a player prop, a player you're really confident about. DraftKings has a ton of options for you. And here's what I love. You can even use those bonus bets that you get on a same game parlay, and you'll get an even bigger shot at a huge payout. You want to get in the action, make sure you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and then you use our promo code. That is STDenver. New customers, you turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. Remember to always game responsibly.
All right, how worried are you about J.K. Dobbins being out until Super Bowl?
So at the beginning of the year, when I took over, I said, I'm not expecting J.K. Dobbins to play all 17 games. I said somewhere in the 13 to 14 game area. He'll probably miss a couple of weeks here and there due to some minor injury. I was wrong. He ended up playing, 9, 10 games. And this hip drop tackle against the Raiders, which the NFL continues to get wrong, by the way. That's a different conversation for another day. But the way I look at J.K. Dobbins is I saw enough to where I'm like, I need to re-sign that guy. Now, we could argue back and forth about what the contract details look like. I'm willing to give him another 2-year contract, maybe $5 million, $6 million per year. He's so talented, but this is also another consecutive year where he does not finish out an NFL season. And I get it, hip drop tackles are kind of just out in the blue, but if we could get him back for the Super Bowl, it would be just unbelievable, but I think he was born to be a Bronco. I mean, he literally said it himself. I was born to play for this team. It's just unfortunate that, the injury bug bites him one more time, but I think what you're gonna see is that RJ Harvey now has an expanded role. Um, he doesn't really fit that well between the tackles right now. He doesn't have that north to south power running scheme, but he's amazing in the east to west. So if you get the ball in his hands on a pitch outside wide zone run, good luck
Sure.
catching that guy. He's too shifty, he's too fast, and I think you can agree with this, man. His hands are so much better
Mm,
than I originally thought. That was actually one of the things I said he needed to work on when he was in training camp. He
yeah,
shut me right the hell up. So
totally.
he's one of those Alvin Kamara, Darren Sproles types. If you can get highlight reel Jaleel or hell, even Tyler Bidet rocking in that north to south running game, I think you'll find that those three can supplant what J.K. Dobbins was able to get you.
Yeah, yeah. I was super bummed for him as a person, but I'm confident, if it didn't matter against the Chiefs, who's it going to matter against, And I think Sean Payton's sitting it out with, the Texans free agent who got cut, and we definitely could have signed him off of waivers and had him here. And had we wanted him on the 53, we could have had him come here, and he chose the Chiefs. And I think that's just a sign from Sean. How do you feel about Sean kind of passing at the trade deadline and then not going after some of these Brandon Cooks and these other free agents? Do you think that those were smart moves for him?
So, notably, when the trade deadlines came around, that whole report coming out that the Broncos could be interested in Jalen Waddle, obviously, the fan in me, the content creator in me was like, do it.
Let's go.
Like, do it because he's a great football player. I understand why they passed. The Dolphins were going to want at least one first and more. And I'm not willing to give that up for a number 2 wide receiver. Unless his name is T. Higgins, I'm not doing it. But at the same time, I also think what Sean said was we trust the guys in our group. And I think that maybe it wasn't disingenuous, but the move, like calling for a wide receiver and then signing little Jordan Humphrey again, kind of indicated to me that maybe that wasn't necessarily what he led on. Like they obviously wanted another weapon for Bo Nix. So you can at least say, hey, we made a call. It was too expensive for us. We trust what we've got in our, locker room for the prices that we're paying the young group of core guys. I think Troy Franklin, despite the drops this year, has been exceptional and so much better than he was last year. His route running ability is just unmatched on this team. I think if you were going to make a move, it would have only been that massive splash play. So at the end of the day, I look at it and I go, I'm not so upset that they didn't make this move. But at the same time, I'm like, what could have been, right? Like you could have
Yeah.
had Jalen Waddle in the end zone at Mile High, and that would have been electric.
Would have printed views on YouTube, that's for sure. But yeah, I think Troy Franklin afterwards coming out and saying that just what it meant to him as a person, that he's like, yeah, Sean's told us he loves us, and now he backed it with his actions. I think that speaks volumes to the team. Like, hey, we're making a deep run with the dudes who've gotten us here, and yeah, it could blow up in our face, but I just trust this squad as it's built. 97% chance of making the playoffs right now. Who do you want, and who do you want nothing to do with in the playoffs?
So the competitor in me wants the very best, right? Let's see what the Broncos can do against the very best of the NFL. So that would be the Colts. That would be the Patriots. I would love to see the Chiefs again in the playoffs. If you're asking me for wins' sake, like as a fan, if you're like best odds to win the football game, I'm looking at the Steelers right now.
Mhm.
They've got massive issues on the defensive side of the ball. Look what the Chicago Bears did to them that last game in week 12. I mean, they absolutely decimated them. They can move the football a little bit. They have good running attack right now with Kenneth Gainwell and TJ Warren, but I would say the Steelers are probably one of your better matchups, and then the Jaguars. I don't think they have the offensive firepower to compete with what Denver does well on the defensive side of the ball. But I will go one step further here. I don't think we need to be looking at the first round of the playoffs. I think we need to be looking beyond that, because what you're going to see is much better quarterback play as we get into, we could take a look at some of the Broncos wins this year. Justin Fields, right? With the Jets. You got Browning from the Bengals earlier on this year. Jalen Hurts is doing okay, but I don't think anybody considers him a great pure passer of the football. You're going to see the likes of Justin Herbert. You're going to see Patty, Josh Allen, Drake May. How does this defense prepare for the best quarterbacks that you're going to play? And then Bo Nix simultaneously, you're going to be going up against some really good defenses. So now is the time, I believe, that you got to be playing your best football, looking forward to the divisional round, looking forward to the AFC Championship game, because I'm telling you, the Broncos Super Bowl window has just opened up, and it can be open for a long time.
Oh, man, dude. I'm running through that wall. Let's go. The team I actually want nothing to do with in the playoffs is actually the Texans, because of what you said about, like, I mean, we beat Dak, we beat Patrick Mahomes, we should have beat Herbert, we should have beat Daniel Jones. So the team, that Texans defense is nasty, and I hope they don't make the playoffs, because that's the only defense that's even on par with ours. So, all right, let's get the receipts. What is your final record prediction? How many wins do the Broncos end up with this year?
Start of the preseason, this would have been right around August 1st, end of July, right around training camp. I said 12-5. And I like the way that sounds, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. At 9-2, I think if we finished 12-5, it would be kind of disappointing, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
totally, man.
I'm thinking there. Let's just go very quickly, game by game, for the rest of the schedule that you got. You got the Green Bay Packers, the Washington Commanders, the Raiders, Chiefs,
Chargers,
and Chargers, and the Jaguars in there.
Yep.
I think you can drop a game to the Chiefs, because we all know the refs are going to be just glazing,
ruin our Christmas. Yep.
At Arrowhead. But I think you could drop a game to the Chiefs, and I think you could drop a game to the Packers based off of that defense. I think you have to win every other game. So I'm going to stake my claim for 13-4. Optimistically, I'm saying 14-3. At worst, you should be going 12-5. So I'm going to sit right in the middle. I'll go 13-4. Book it. There's my receipt.
Yeah, I'll say 13 as well. But that's because I think we're going to rest our starters against the Chargers that last game.
Consider that.
Yeah, just because I think that if you look at the Patriots schedule, it's a cakewalk. So I think they're going to have that number 1 seed locked. They have the Bills. That's going to be tough. But yeah, well, man.
Well, so very briefly before we take off here, I've got some not insider information, but I work directly with the Patriots host here, who's very connected to the team. And Patriots Nation, Patriots fans, they are the number 1 haters of the Denver Broncos. I've heard the word frauds being thrown around multiple times during Patriots shows and from Patriots fans. And it's the one area that I just have to I have to fight back with them, because I'm like, you guys you are the ultimate frauds, if we're throwing that word around. You haven't played anybody. They beat the Bills and a very beat up Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. This Broncos,
they lost to the Raiders, bro. Yeah, they lost to the Raiders, at home.
Come on.
They should have lost last week to a backup quarterback and a horrible defense with the Cincinnati Bengals. Broncos are way better than the Pats. All right, well, you are the best. I will check out the link in the description. I know you're already subbed because he's the best, but Broncos country, we got a ton to believe in.
So I'm thankful, of course, for this team, how much joy they brought us this year, how we've done things the right way. We didn't skip steps. We didn't have a bunch of free agents come in and win this thing for us, that we've built this thing the right way. But beyond all that, beyond my family, my faith, I truly want to say thank you to all of you, because I really am on this Thanksgiving Day thankful for you, thankful for the community who watch this every day, who share this with their friends, who have been praying for my entire family, my wife who battled cancer and beat it. I can't tell you how crazy it was, the support that I got from all of you. Just knowing that there are people across the country thinking of my family, praying for my wife, meant more than you'll ever know. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Broncos country, because we got a ton to Bo-Lieve in. Ball don't lie.